Randstad India Talent Pod, leading the human forward way.
Hey guys, welcome to a brand new episode of Randstad India Talent Pod. I'm your host Neerja and I am so excited about the show we have lined up today. Now, as you know, Randstad India Talent Pods is an exciting new world where we use audio to connect with each other and have meaningful conversations. We've got exciting updates, engaging polls, and a lot more from the world of recruitment, hiring, and placements. So make sure to sit tight and turn up the volume because I've got an expert joining me on the show in just a bit, followed by some quick tips and a poll. Let's get started.
You're tuned in to the Randstad India Talent Pod. All things Randstad in one place.
Our guest today on Randstad India Talent Pods is Deepali Naair, the Director, Digital Sales, India and ASEAN NZK at IBM. Now, till Feb 2022, she was leading marketing as the CMO for IBM India and South Asia. Before IBM, she's held leadership positions with IIFL Wealth Group, HSBC, L&T Insurance and Mahindra Holidays, and has also worked at Marico to manage brands like Saffola and Medica. Now, she's also been on the Impacts list of India's 50 most influential women 3 years in a row. That's right. She's also been awarded the Economic Times Tech CMO of the Year honor in 2020. And she's also a podcast host to a successful series called Being CEO with Deepali Naair. Thank you, Deepali, for joining us. It's an absolute honor to have you with us today. And I'm sure the people listening in are also going to appreciate, hearing you out and listening to all the insightful career advice you have to share. So welcome on board.
Thank you, Neerja. Thank you for this opportunity for me having to voice my thoughts here.
Deepali, as the CMO of India South Asia at IBM, I'm sure your mailbox and your LinkedIn inboxes are just flooded with messages from job seekers and, aspirants looking for career advice and opportunities. So how do you, deal with that, and what do you have to say to them?
Okay, first, Neerja, I think there's been a recent change. 30 days ago, I took over as the Director for Digital Sales for India and for ASEAN, Australia, Korea. I'm going to be heading the Bangalore Center Innovation Hub for, IBM.
Oh, yes!
Thank you. Now as far as my LinkedIn, when I was the Chief Marketing Officer and now when, it's digital sales, which is the hot new skill that we have that people are pursuing, the inbox is really full. I think I probably get about 1 or 2 people writing into me, seeking help for new profiles, roles, or sending me their resumes on LinkedIn, or seeking for me to be their mentor as far as job search, etc. is concerned. So yes, I definitely have about 1 or 2 people every day reaching out to me.
What would be your 5 top tips for job seekers reaching out to leaders such as yourself on social media platforms, and how can they, make that an effective process to make sure they grab, eyeballs?
Thank you so much for asking me that, Neerja. I think this is really required, and I did try by doing a post on this a few days ago. So let me enumerate, according to me, what should be the 5 top tips for this. Mm-hmm. First, I think people ought to be reaching out to their past managers, colleagues, and perhaps friends in their partner organizations, for example, agencies, vendors, and ask these people for introductions. Why is that? Why is that a more effective way of doing it? Because these people have worked with you. They know what you bring to the table, what you're capable of delivering, whether you're good at strategy or execution, what your network is. And this will ensure that when they know that you're looking for an assignment or a job or a gig, they will suggest a good fit for you. They will refer you to someone with a great degree of confidence to say, I know Neerja, and therefore I think you should look at her resume. And I think that's really my first tip, so that you must reach out to people in your circle. And Neerja, the second tip, if you are writing to me and I'm a stranger to you, be specific enough in explaining in not more than 40 words what you bring to the table. I think 40 words equals any human being's 15-second attention span. Mm-hmm. Okay, I read 40 words in 15 seconds. no stranger, and especially a senior leader, imagine a CEO or a founder somewhere, they won't have the time to open your CV and read through it for 10 minutes. Yeah. So, do it in 40 words, keep your elevator pitch ready, and then expect some interesting responses back, because people will definitely be also impressed with your way you've written those 40 words and done your elevator pitch. So that's really my second tip. If you're indeed writing to me and I'm a stranger to you, then do the homework by visiting my company's website. Go to ibm.com, check out if there is an opening at all, or visit the LinkedIn job site to see advertisements from IBM, and then write specifically keeping a job in mind and referring to it by providing a link to it. Help me help you. If nothing else, this will demonstrate that you're hardworking. So today, for example, I can tell you that in the city of Bangalore, we are hiring for digital selling. Now, that's specific enough. If somebody's writing to me to say that my CV is suited for this job, it's fantastic. There was one person who wrote to me about being in the legal profession and looking for an assignment, in our Dubai office. And I did put that person through to a specific person in Dubai. So this is another tip that, I would give people. Work hard at finding the opportunity online yourself first. Nisha, there are two more things that I want to share.
Yeah.
The moment I respond, and I respond by saying that, look, I do not have any position for you at IBM, because some people have specifically written to me saying that, is there a role in your organization, or is there a role in your team? And I write back to them saying that, listen, I don't have a position open just now. I lots of times get a response which says, keep me in mind for jobs elsewhere if you hear of anything. I think this statement defeats the whole purpose, because this demonstrates to me that you do not have direction, and perhaps that you haven't done any homework, or that, you're open to anything that comes your way. I think you need to be more purposeful and decisive about your career. So if I say a no, or any stranger who says a no to you, I think thank that person, and once again go back to looking at your elevator pitch and perhaps writing to somebody else. And the last one, Nirja, right?
Yeah.
Writing to someone in my team, who knows you. Might be a better way to reach to me. Use this rule to write to any senior CXO. Have a relationship with a person in that CXO's team. Find a common connection, with that CXO, and use that opportunity, use that methodology, to write to them. I think that's what I would do. And also, another thing is, don't just write a hello and then wait for a response. A lot of the people first write a hi to me to just check whether I'm online or not. People are not going to be online just then all the time,
Yeah.
So I think be direct and state the purpose and use the 40 words right in your first in-mail to the senior person that you're trying to reach.
Deepali, these are some really, really brilliant, insights. I'm sure we all make at least one or two of the mistakes that you rightly pointed out, is especially saying things like, if you come across another job for me, let me know, things like that. You're absolutely right that it makes the person look like they don't have direction. So reach out to the right people, be concise, and you got to put in the effort yourself to make sure that you land the job that you like. So Deepali, perhaps you could also answer this question for us. How do you think networking in today's digital world can be made more effective, and how do you think it helps in job searches?
Nirja, building connections is important, and I think one of the tips I mentioned earlier was build a connection with somebody you know in a senior person's team. So that's one way of networking. I think the second thing is that in the world of social media today, putting yourself out is important. What you stand for, what you're reading, what your intellect level is, what your interests are, should be apparent to me through your Twitter timeline or your LinkedIn timeline. Interacting with people at a depth level, which means that when you're responding to something that I have written, let's say, don't just say great or a great share or I loved it. I think be very specific there about what you loved. What is the aspect that you agreed with? And I think that leaves an impression in the mind of the person on whose post you're commenting. So this is, really my second tip. Third is be courageous in terms of standing for a point of view. You don't need to argue. You don't need to, ensure that the other person agrees to your point of view. But having a point of view is great, and I think you should be writing it. Fourth, and this is the gold tip, which is be generous. A lot of the times, we are very hesitant to appreciate what has been written, for various reasons. I will not praise Adam Grant on his LinkedIn, on his post, wondering whether he's going to read it or not. Or I don't post saying that, will it sound too much, if I say that I really like what you've written. So if you're purposeful and if you're generous, with what you're writing, I think you will probably have a more successful networking opportunities. I've made 2 great friends on Twitter this way. One is Vala Afshar. He's a great influencer, works for SFTC globally. And second is Roshan Abbas. I didn't know them in real life. I've come to know them during COVID only through Twitter. So I'm saying this with great conviction and with having tried it myself.
Be purposeful, do your homework, and have a point of view. Thank you so much. This is absolute gold when it comes to advice. So thank you for sharing this with us, Deepali. I'm sure this will get many people, many job seekers and aspirants, to change their approach and strategy while reaching out to leaders such as yourself via email or social media. So thank you so much for your time and your advice. It's been an absolute pleasure having you here.
And Neerja, to your listeners, happy job hunting and be purposeful.
Great closing words. Thank you, Deepali.
Thank you.
You're listening to the Randstad India Talent Pod, where fun meets work.
Well, that was just amazing advice from Deepali Naair, CMO and Digital Sales Leader, IBM India. Now, an important point Deepali made was how important it is to have clarity about what we want to achieve through our careers and jobs. And clarity is often supported by passion. So, how can you match your passion with your job? Here are a few tips. Number 1. Identify what makes you happy, your high points in your current job. Number 2, ask yourself this question. Are these points you can implement and execute your job without? Number 3, take time to identify and understand your strengths and weaknesses and how these impact the quality of your work. Taking the time to identify and understand things that bring you satisfaction, excitement, and motivation is key to finding your passion. And working on translating that passion into a career will be possible when you look for opportunities and roles that appeal to your interests.
This or that.
Okay, now it's time for our this or that poll. I'm going to ask you all a question. Now, this question will also be posted on the Randstad India LinkedIn page, so follow us if you haven't already and participate in our fun poll. Here's the question. If your interview is scheduled for tomorrow, what is the one superpower that you would secretly wish for? A. Telepathy of the hiring manager's mind. B. X-ray vision to see the questions on the sheet. C. Precognition to be able to view the events of the future and decide whether or not to attend. Or D. Weather modification to postpone the interview if you're still unprepared. Let us know.
You're listening to the Randstad India Talent Pod, where fun meets work.
Well, wasn't that just a fantastic show? I had a blast. I hope you did too. And we'd love to hear from you, hear your feedback. So let us know what you think of the podcast. Go ahead and share your recommendations and suggestions with us. You can also post on social media by tagging at Randstad India on Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram with the hashtag Randstad India Talent Pod. I will catch you next time on another exciting episode. Until then, it's me, your host, Neerja, signing off. Catch you later.
This is the Randstad India Talent Pod, leading the human forward way.